here. Well, the January 6th Select Committee appears ready to criminally refer former President Trump to the Justice Department. And that is not all. A source telling CNN the panel is also set to ask the DOJ to consider charges of obstructing an official proceeding and conspiracy to defraud the federal government. A new chapter in this legal saga for the former president. So with us now to talk about this and what it all means is former federal prosecutor and now defense attorney Shan Wu. All right, so let's break this down first of all. If Merrick Garland, the attorney general, gets these referrals, what would the next steps be?
Well, the next steps in this case is probably to punt them over to Jack Smith, who's the special counsel, because he would be the person who is really serving as the head of the January 6th investigations right now, as well as the Mar-a-Lago ones. They would then look at this, I think, with a bit more deference than they usually do with congressional referrals, because a lot of times referrals come over when I was at the DOJ and we're kind of like, okay, that's nice. But this is a massive investigation that the committee has undertook. Huge amounts of evidence, huge amount of witnesses being identified. And I think it's the detail that accompanies the referrals themselves and the report that will give a roadmap for DOJ. DOJ has been kind of late to this party, and they're playing catch up, but that detail could be very helpful to them and will put a lot of pressure on them as well.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about that because you've got Jack Smith, the special counsel. He's already off running with this probe, right? We know that. We're hearing that there could be additional charges proposed by the committee. Could these referrals jam up the DOJ's work at this point? Does it politicize the DOJ's work, creating a perception that perhaps DOJ is pressured by this committee, although it is bipartisan?
Right. I don't think it'll jam up their work. They have to get there anyway, and it should provide them at the very least with some additional evidence or leads that they may need to follow, but they'd have to go there anyway, so I don't think that aspect will jam them up. But politicize it, Merrick Garland and Jack Smith are in this position of damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's already heavily politicized. I think the problem here for Merrick Garland is that he's tried to insulate the department by appointing a special counsel. That act in and of itself was viewed to be a political act. And the amount of detail that's going to come out in this report is going to make it very, very difficult for him or Jack Smith to actually decline to prosecute, because the public has been educated. There's going to be a lot of detail. It's going to be a question for them of picking and choosing what is something they really think they can get convictions on. The ones they don't choose or the ones they do choose will be a very heavily politicized debate.
Yeah. So then which of these charges that the committee is expected to refer to DOJ carries the most weight legally?
I think probably it's the insurrection, I think, is likely to carry a lot of weight. And certainly the obstruction of the official proceeding carries a lot of weight. Those are very different pieces of proof. With the insurrection, you probably need more of a link to Trump himself. But as a former prosecutor, one thing I would be thinking about is how to explain this best to a jury. So there's a huge amount of legal analysis that they're doing. Lots of commentators and analysts are doing that about which type of charge would really fit these facts. But you also have to step back and think, how do I explain this to a jury? What's going to make sense to them? Obstructing the proceeding, insurrection, seditious conspiracy, those are the kinds of things you really have to think about, because you're going to have to prove that and talk to people about it.
Yeah, it's a reminder, even though you might think someone did something, you have to have the evidence to back it up, to prove beyond a reasonable doubt they did commit a crime. Shan Wu, thanks for your analysis. We appreciate it.